Hey there, it's Raven Scry. Today I'm going to be giving another crypto reading to you guys. This one's going to be Theta, XLM, and AVA, which is Travala. So this one has been offered by Debbie, so thank you, Debbie. Also, just a reminder that this is not financial advice and you've got to follow your own heart and intuition with your choices. If you would like one of these readings, please get in touch via the About page of the channel. But I'm just going to get into it. Enjoy. Okay, so the first coin that you've asked about is Theta. Okay, Theta is certainly a loved coin. And it's interesting synchronicity at the moment. I think Theta is pumping significantly. It's up 50% as we speak, I believe. But I'm going to connect to its energy now. It's interesting because, at the start of the last bull market, there was this energy that was connected in with it. And it was planetary. Often they show me these planetary kind of energies. It's almost like cryptos are planets. But there is this kind of big planetary energy, and it's like it's kind of got this hover. And it's like and then it just takes off. Now, I feel as though that was in the past, but I also feel as though there is that energy with it still. And I feel like it's somewhat more pent up in some way, is the way that it's coming through. It's like there's more of a build going on. There's more. It's almost like something's been holding it back, but when it moves forward, it's going to be quite explosive. Now, I know that in the past, I've mentioned that it's going to do quite well. It wasn't coming through as outstanding when I've read it in the past, but the energy does feel very heightened and alive with the way that it's resonating. So as I ask Spirit now to help me to understand the trajectory of as we move through 2024 into 2025 for Theta, radiant is what I'm hearing. Radiant glow. And they're saying effervescent. It's interesting the words they're wanting to put here. Okay, and I ask, well, help me to understand this. They're talking about it being like a huge success, and it's not separate to another in some way. They're saying that it's not separate to another. It's almost like there's a partnership or a connection that it has that's really important. Now my mind goes to T-fuel because it is connected, but it may be something beyond that. It's like it's got greater partnerships with another, in the way that it comes through. It's like another match for itself. It reminds me of like an equal party, something that has built to a certain degree that's meeting it and joining in some way. And it's like there's a great deal of action taking place within the developments of this connection. Okay, I'm just going to ask Spirit, if they can give me a little bit more around the movements of Theta as we move along 2024. They're showing me large spikes up and then moves down, but this feels like, again, this kind of thing of following Bitcoin's trajectory in some way. There does seem to be, quite a parabolic run that I can see it having in the way that it's coming through. It's like I can see it moving up quite a bit, but then kind of dipping down and then boom, kind of doing something a little bit more crazy. Now, this also may parallel with, the times in the market that is going to be very, upward, the trajectory. Okay, so I'm just going to ask for a little bit more of anything that Spirit has to say around Theta. Yes, they're just agreeing, yes, good project. They're saying it's not happening all at once, take your time. There's a little bit more of a pace here with this. It almost makes me feel like, it could be worth buying some in a little bit staggered kind of a way, but that's kind of what comes to mind as they say that. But it is just this kind of reminder of just taking a little bit more time than is perhaps promised. There's this sense of positive growth and there's this sense of abundant energy that it has with it, but it feels like it's not going to do it straight away, like do the crazy moves that I see. Not to say that it won't move well, but, this other kind of spiking energy, this other kind of upward energy that comes a little bit down track. It's just like Spirit's kind of saying, gently, gently pace yourself in some way, is what's coming through around this. Now, I'm just going to ask, is there anything more around Theta that they can show or share? They're just talking about fun, having fun with it. It feels very light. It feels like it's moving into a very light energy of flow, and there's an ease. It's almost like it kind of moves through this period, and then just becomes this kind of ease and flow that's taking place, and it's very light and fun, and so they're just kind of wanting to point to that time, which feels like, it feels like toward the end of the year is kind of the period that they're showing me around this. But overall, Spirit's saying good. They're giving me a thumbs up to this one. They like it. But it's just talking about pacing and taking sort of more time in some way. Okay, so I'm going to move along now to the next coin that you've selected, which is XLM. Now, XLM is another very loved coin, so I'm just going to connect to XLM now. It's interesting because as I connect to it, it's like what it's showing me is this center, this heart center point, and it's like it puts it in my heart, but from there's all these kind of like streams out, but it almost feels like rails and lines. It feels very, how can I say, very silver in nature, in metallic silver. It's like it moves out, and the way that it's being shown is like this connection point to the heart space, and then it's like it's all just coming out and moving out from that, but it's moving out in a very interesting kind of way. It's like, how can I say it? It's like an opening, but it's like many streams all coming out of XLM in the way that they're showing it to me. Now I'm just going to ask Spirit, what have they got to say around its trajectory moving through 2024 into 2025? Rails on rails. Now, I feel as though there's been references to rails in other readings. I can't recall which ones, whether it was in relation to XLM or not, but this rails on rails is what they're saying. Now, it's also connecting me to another reading where there was connection to Elon Musk going on, and rails and robots. They're taking me to a connection there in some way. So if I don't recall what that was in regards to, but this is just what they're bringing to mind. It's like as we move through into like later into 2024, into 2025, it's like there's things movement. There's things movement. It's reminding me of like a train station. It's like constants and flow, and it's being used and things are moving around. It's like they're not referring to charts here. They're referring to use. It's being used and developed in some way. And it's bustling, it's a bustling train station is kind of the way that they're showing this with these rails. And I ask a little bit more about the trajectory of its movements. they're talking about not yet. They're kind of holding it off a little bit, but later. They're doing it later to this one as well. And I ask, well, later, okay, well, moving into later, success, global adoption, and warmth. They're giving me a lot of warmth around it. Positive evolution. There's a lightness with this. There's a lightness with this flow of XLM. And it almost feels like it's happening already. It's here already, but it's just kind of moving and flowing and being used as we move further and further along. Now, in regards to price, it's interesting because as I connect to price, I'm hearing silver, gold, silver, gold, silver, gold, silver, gold, silver. Like they're switching silver to gold. I can't really understand what that's about, but and it's also interesting because I'm getting strange elements around my throat here too, which may have significance to kind of connection and communication, and it's like it's not decided what it is yet. It's like it's switching silver, gold, silver, gold, silver. That has some significance, but I'm just going to leave that there because it's like it feels a little bit cryptic in the way they're showing it. And I'm just going to ask them, one more time, trajectory of its movements toward the end of 2024 into 2025. Yeah, it feels positive growth, but it almost feels like it lives on beyond. It's like they're showing me that's got a lot more longevity in it. And it's like they're not wanting to speak to it just being 2024, 2025. They're kind of pushing it further and further out. It's like, being something like this for a longer period, it will pay off. It's like rails and adoption, very significant and positive. So yes, certainly good movement there, and something that's shown to be in for the long haul. A lot of these coins, they don't, your spirit doesn't show me that reference, so it's interesting that they show it with this one. Okay, I'm going to move along now to the last coin, Ava Travala. We spent a little bit longer on the last coin, but we'll get into Travala. Okay. They're talking about radical change, and they're kind of giving me crosses, like they're kind of pushing it down. And I ask a little bit more insight on Travala. They're talking about an epic run, but a crash, and it almost feels like it's in the past in some way. And they're giving me a bit of a sick feeling in my stomach. Like, oh, it's not. They're not giving me a great positive kind of uplifting energy with this, and I don't really see it doing amazing moves. And in regards to it moving up to its kind of previous levels, I'm not really seeing that at this stage. Now that can always change, but in the way that it's being shown right now, along the trajectory, it's kind of staggering. It's moving up and down and staggering a bit along the bottom is kind of how it's shown. I'm just going to ask anything more that they want to share about this project as we move further into 2024, 2025. They're talking about possible sort of adoptions with certain things, but it's like it moves up a little bit, then it comes back down a bit. It's like it doesn't have an energy with it. It doesn't have an uplifting energy in the way that it's coming through now in this reading. It's kind of staggering. There's not a lot of life with it. And I'm just going to ask anything else that they want to add. They're not wanting to add a lot here. They're just kind of shaking their head, moving away from the project. So within all of that, I feel like that's kind of speaking for itself. And these coins can certainly do their moves and have smaller or larger runs, but Spirit with this one is giving me a bit of a cross. And, they don't often do that. They often give me a bit of a mixed about certain things. So personally, that's not something that I would be connecting into at this time, but certainly not financial advice. So follow your own resonance and heart with what's coming through today. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed today's reading. If you've got any thoughts, comments, please pop them below, share them with the community. And if there's anything that's come to mind about other readings that have been referenced in this crypto reading today, please don't hesitate to write them below, because sometimes it's hard for me to document all of the information that comes through over the years and remember what it's connecting to, particularly with the rails and the other readings about the rails. Yeah, it'd be great if someone can kind of recall some of that stuff too. All right, guys, if you'd like one of these readings, please don't hesitate to get in touch via the About page of the channel and the email there, and I will see you again soon. Raven Scry signing off.